One Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Dr. Abhay Shendye, who will talk about From Soil to Soul, a conversation on food, farming, health, and well-being. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Namaste, everybody. I am Dr. Abhay Shendye, the founder of Vitaleon Foods Private Limited. We work towards solving the broken economics of healthy food. So, at some point of time in the discussion, we should understand what is the broken economics and how we are trying to solve it. As you see, so I have got 30 years of experience of working in the space of sustainable farming, organic farming, post-harvest preservation, biological inputs for agriculture, disease mitigation, and recently, for last 8 years, I have built focus on food processing. So when I said we are working on food processing, we are trying to create a value chain model which will be helpful for everybody, helpful for farmers, society, startups, as well as the consumers. To do all these things, it is more than a business model. So we propose a name Soil to Soul for this movement. So this movement will be transparent, honest, involving all different stakeholders into the process, and it will be beneficial for all the stakeholders in the process. So why use this name Soil to Soul? We know that we are what we eat. When we are born, we are maybe 4 kg or 5 kg, and typically an adult is 60 kg. And whatever weight he has put up is only thing the food that he has eaten. But beyond that, what we think is also dependent on the food which we eat. Are you started? Actually, what happens that in our brain there is one part called as amygdala, and this amygdala keeps you nervous whenever you try to do anything new. It always keeps on saying, "Don't try new thing, don't try new thing, don't try new thing." But if you eat the right food and it builds the right microorganisms in your gut, those microorganisms produce something which actually overcomes the amygdala, and then you can think peacefully. You can take a bold decision. So this is very important. And at the same time, along with the food which we eat, nowadays we eat a lot of processed food. So how it is processed is also very important. And when all these three things are put together nicely, that is a soil which is healthy, produces a nutritionally balanced crop, and we eat a balanced nutrition, then that soil reflects into what our mind and soul is doing. That's why they titled Soil to Soul. So, are our farmers really growing the food which is nutritious? Is the real question. And before we go into that question, I want to talk about something else. Here is a photograph of a scientist, Dr. William Albrecht. His career is before 1970s. And what he has done is a fantastic job. He is a father pioneer of agricultural development. So, what he says is agriculture is biology first and nature first. Technology is not first. Incidentally, what we are doing right now is we are applying a lot of technology to agriculture. We are forgetting biology. We are forgetting nature. And that is why our food, whatever our farmers do, is not really nutritious. I also want to talk about one of his famous articles. That popular article is titled "Cows are better chemists than human beings," and it's a great read. Anybody who is interested, I'll share the articles with you people, age-old articles. But I I want to tell two different examples from his work. First, first is that he added chemical fertilizer soil only once in 1937, and cows rejected the food which was grown on chemical fertilizers till 1944. And so he concluded that you add nitrogen to soil once in the lifetime, the soil does not produce good nutritious food for another 7 years. Now, how much chemical fertilizer put in our soils every year, every season, we know. And that's why real nutritious food is something worrisome for me. He has given a great example of donkeys which are grown in Kansas state of USA. Incidentally, he was head of the Department of Soil Sciences in Missouri University. So what he suggested that the donkeys which are grown in Kansas are expected to be more sturdier than donkeys in and around states in USA. So what people did in those old days, they collected donkeys from Kansas and took to their regions. But then the donkeys which were even taken from Kansas became dull. So Dr. William Albrecht did a lot of research work and showed that it is not the breed of the donkey which is important, but it is the calcium in the soil which is very important. So we understand the importance of soil giving right nutrition to us. Incidentally, he was the only scientist in this world who way back in 1940s recommended US government that the soils are having their natural biological fertility which has collected in those soils for millions of years. So that is FD in the soil, fixed deposit in the soil. And the farmer who puts chemical fertilizer is actually breaking that FD and using it. So he suggested US government that the farmers who use chemical fertilizers need to pay extra tax to government because the innate fertility of the soil is owned by government, not by the farmer. I wanted to tell about these four examples specifically because when I am going to talk about soil to soul, I am going to consider all these factors in my mind. And therefore, many times it so happens that if I get some input from a trader, from market, I don't tend to believe it to the same extent. And that's why I said in this transparent mission, farmers, processors have to come together and do the work nicely. I want to quote one more example of one Dr. Davis from US who has really studied the nutrient contents of various crops. And he has shown that 100 years back, for example, spinach had 4 times more vitamins and in some cases 1,000 times more vitamins and more minerals and more nutrition than the spinach which is grown today. And that is only because of global warming and high carbon dioxide content of the soil, high carbon dioxide content of the air and the hybrid seeds which we use. So considering all these things together, I want to know whether our farmers are going to grow right nutrition for the consumers. Now here I am trying to talk about four different factors. First, a very short sentence which I have written here is farmers do not get value for the produce which they grow. Now, there is this data of 2026, 2016, 2017, which shows that more than 4 crore farmers in this country do not earn more than 3,117 rupees per month. What they can do in 3,000 rupees? And this money which they get is actually only 20% of the cost of their cultivation. So major 4 crore farmers, we are keeping them hungry. How they will grow nutritious crops for us? This question needs to be considered. Now, over last 30 years, I have traveled so much, interacted with maybe 500,000 farmers. So I understand that these farmers, they grow a separate crop for their own consumption, which is on low chemicals, which is not using any toxic chemicals. But when it comes to selling the crop, they want to maximize their production at the cost of its quality using toxic chemicals, because I make a statement that farmers grow for mandi, they don't grow for the consumers. At the same time, my consumers, they are dying for nutritious food. They want more and more options. So, Vitaleon Foods, my company, sees an opportunity in this situation, and we spent 6 hours on doing R&D to reduce the cost of cultivation and to reduce the cost of processing, so that giving good profit to farmers and giving good profit to the processors, we can still offer a healthy, tasty, nutritious produce to the consumers at an affordable price. So what we see that as we grow, we can really work with several thousand farmers and increase their income by 2x, at least for 50,000 hectares of land. Exactly. Having talked about the model, we are launching two products immediately into the market. Now, these products are meal bars, ready to eat or ready to cook meals. I don't want to go into commercial part of the products. What I wanted to harp on is the nutrition part of it. Now, today, lot of people eat snacks. They eat chips, they eat biscuits, they eat chocolates, they drink tea, they drink coffee. And all these food products have got empty calories. Means it has got calories, but no remaining nutrition. What we have tried to do is develop the products which will be balanced in nutrition, so that if the people consume these products instead of their conventional snacks, they won't face health problems. Next slide, please. So here is one example of meal bars, wherein you can very well see that the bar, the last one on the right hand side, is sprout bar. So it is having 50% millet, 50% sprouts, just like the meals which my ancestors used to eat. 2023, when we were developing this technology, incidentally that was year of millets, and I was roaming around and seeing what innovative products I find in the market. I always used to see that the millet products which are developed are with high sugar content, high oil content, and they are perfectly snacks, not meals. So that is the conceptual change we want to bring about using our innovative technology. So here I am just trying to compare nutrition. So I don't want to talk about any other competitor within India. So we considered some imported products which are in the form of bar. And Indian products are almost similar to these products. So when you say a Nutri bar, it will have high proteins, high dry fruits, high sugar also. And if you see what Indian Council of Medical Research recommends Indian consumers, that they should eat 10% fat, 17% protein, and 73% carbohydrates. None of the available products in the bar form, whether protein bar, Nutri bar, dry fruit bar, whatever it is, match this kind of a nutrition. What we have tried to do is we have developed several types of bars, and if you pick up 5 bars, only one sweet, and the rest four whatever you like, then you match almost the requisite nutrition which is recommended by ICMR. So that is the effort which we are putting in developing the products, so that On one hand, they will be tasty. On another hand, they will be highly nutritious and also cost effective. So now I want to come to the last point of my discussion. Having said that, we have some products, we developed some product, we developed some technology, and it is not a small work. It took six years and a lot of money. What we have is we have got a technology. The technology which can process the food products in a delicate manner. For example, now if I have to tell you one example, the bars which are formed right now in the industry, they are heated at 195 degrees temperature. So imagine how much nutrient loss they will be having. When we make a bar, it is not baked beyond 95 degrees temperature. So all the nutrients are preserved. And even though we do this delicate processing, even though we can handle high amount of moisture as compared to the hyper processed products which are available in the market, our processing cost is not higher than the other competitor products. So what we can do is we can offer this technology to farmers, farmer producer companies, food processors, so that they can evolve better nutritious products. Already we have done that with 3-4 parties. Second thing which I want to talk about is market access. I know several farmers who are doing great processing work. Somebody is processing 100% organic mango, somebody is processing sugarcane to make organic jaggery, but they can't sell it. So they have got a huge capacity to process and they can't even use 10% capacity. So since Vitaleon is already into the market and moving ahead in the health segment of the food market, we can also help these people and provide them market access. The third point which I wanted to emphasize is direct purchase of raw material. Now, for example, we developed a technology for making fruit chocolates, the chocolates that can have 80% fruit, and the technology is instantly transferred to somebody else. But now they require fruit pulp almost 10 tons every year. So, can we not connect good farmers to this company? Can't those farmers make pulp out of their fruit and sell it to the companies? That is where the farmers will make more money. I want to give two more examples which are possible. And we are working with one FPO and we are also talking to Indian Council of Indian Institute of Millet Research for this purpose. That for our products, we need samolina made from millets. So right now, the MSP for let's say jawar is 26 rupees kg. And the samolina which I buy from the market is 90 rupees kg. And processing cost is not more than 15 rupees. So we have got a complete project plan, project proposal ready, wherein the farmers can have a micro processing facility for making the samolina from millets, and they can double their income. If there is a bigger FPO, then we can suggest them to go for extrusion and make puffs of millets. Why I am only talking about millets? Because my products are based on millets. So I know that I can consume a huge amount of these products processed by the people. But incidentally, number of companies are growing around us who are taking our technology and developing newer products. So all those are going to also require a great raw material. And that's how we can connect the farmers to processors. We can directly buy from the farmers, which we are already doing, and that will for sure double the income of farmers. So with this, I want to conclude my introduction. I know government of India is looking at nourishing India sustainably by year 2030, and the targets which they have taken, we are already implementing. So I want to associate with maximum number of farmers, FPOs, FCOs for raw material procurement, And I want to make consumers aware that there are a lot of healthy, tasty options available for them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Abhay, for the interesting presentation. Now I'll quickly take up some questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Just one second. Okay. So the first question is, how does soil health directly influence the nutritional quality of the food we consume?
So right now the thought process is that unless soil has got enough nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and the micronutrients, the crop will not have the nutrients. That is a gross concept on which everybody is working. So out of these three parameters, let's say NPK, if one is less, then the crop grown is corresponding to the nutrient which is less available in the soil. But nowadays, what we are seeing and we are thinking is that nutrient is present in the soil. We can put chemical fertilizer, but whether the crop can absorb it, crop can take it physiologically is becoming a more important question. Like, for example, the soil should have 2% organic matter for the crops to grow. Now, this is depleting so fast that so many soils have got organic carbon less than 0.1%. So, there is a big thought process in a school of scientists that maybe after 50 crop cycles, these soils will not support the growth of crop at all. This is more alarming. So I am not thinking from the viewpoint that I should add chemical fertilizer to the soil, but I am saying that you should add less chemical fertilizers and make their use more efficient by the crop.
Okay. Dr. Abhay, you can stop sharing the screen so that we can see your full video.
Sure.
Okay. So next question. What farming practices can improve both soil fertility and human health in the long term?
I didn't get the question, madam.
What farming practices can improve both soil fertility and human health in the long term?
So both the things are actually 100% interconnected. Unless and until the soil fertility is high, human nutrition is not going to improve. So for that, we have to really conserve the organic matter present in the soil. Today, I know at least 20,000 farmers who are growing some horticulture crops, like say for example, custard apple, who are doing zero tillage farming. They are not moving the soil at all so that whatever organic matter is there in the soil, it will not escape as carbon dioxide. And then they are getting very good yields. They are getting very good results. The disease management of the crop is becoming easy. So all these things put together, we need a complete ecosystem in which we consider soil, we consider crop, and we consider human health together. Unfortunately, what is happening that even though there is good nutrition in the produce, primary produce which is given by the farmer, let's say wheat, when it is ultra processed to make maida, a lot of nutrients are gone. So I am also discussing about that processing technology, and all these things put together will make a cycle which is completely sustainable.
Okay. And is there a scientific evidence linking soil microbial diversity with the nutritional value of crops?
Definitely, you are just asking about a small question about microbial diversity of the soil. There are some microorganisms which are called as endophytes which grow inside a plant. People have proven that even though they know a plant in tissue culture, which they called as axenic, which means which doesn't have any microorganisms, people have proven that even those plants have got some endophytes inside them. And these endophytes play a great role in the health of the crop. And you will be astonished to know that when the crop is actually flowering, these endophytes which are present in, say, let's say, stem of the crop, they produce their spores or their tiny seeds, which go to the flower, and those seeds enter into the seed. And that is how these endophytes are transferred from one generation of crop to next generation of crop. So microbial diversity of soil is very important, no doubt about it. But this endophyte diversity of the plant is equally important. And we are putting a lot of pesticides, chemicals on the plants and destroying even this endophyte population which is present in the plants, which is very, very dangerous.
Okay. And how can farmers produce nutrient dense food without compromising productivity?
So productivity and nutrient dense foods are totally different matters or issues. But what I want to say is, suppose your crop requires, say, X amount of superphosphate. Instead of superphosphate, you can use rock phosphate, the prom biofertilizer which government is promoting, and you can use the prom instead of superphosphate and still get the nutrient dense crop. So I am saying that these superphosphates which were going to kill microorganisms in the soil, that is avoided. And that is why, because of the microbial population present in the soil, there are so many advantages which the crop gets, we don't even understand them. I mean, I will give you a small example that there is a microorganism called as mycorrhiza. Rhiza is root. So microorganism growing on root is mycorrhiza. So for these mycorrhizae, there is one center in Australia which is doing a lot of research. The head of the research once made a wonderful statement. He said that I go to jungles and any plant I pick up that has mycorrhiza associated with the plant. But human beings have cultivated certain crops and I find that none of them has got mycorrhiza. Now, is it that human beings selected crops in such a way that the crops did not have mycorrhiza? That is not correct. What has actually happened is, because we use a lot of superphosphates in our soil, the mycorrhiza got eradicated. So when you said that I want a nutrient dense food which is also good volume of production in the field, I mean tons per acre, if we want to calculate, I would put a small change over there. I mean 2000, since 2005 I am talking about this topic. Even on radio, even on television, nobody actually thinks about it. For example, I asked a question to a girl in Mumbai. I said that you are asking me a question, why farmers do not do organic farming. Now, suppose one farmer grows 1 acre of tomato organically, he will get 5 tons of yield, which will be dense in nutrition. Ordinary farmer will get 9 tons per acre. So maybe we will say that the yield is half and the farmer wants double money. Now I asked that lady whether you will buy that tomato at double price. She doesn't understand what that tomato is. And I told her that look, tomato has got a biochemical called as lycopene. And if you grow tomato chemically, you get only 4 to 5 milligrams lycopene per kg of tomato. And if you grow organically, you get somewhere around 27 milligrams of lycopene per kg of tomato. And this lycopene is anti-cancer. So for 5x anti-cancer or 10x anti-cancer, are you not ready to give 2x price to the tomato? But for that, the mentality of the consumer needs to change. Because I told the same lady that, look, madam, when you go to the kirana shop or when you go to the shop where the vegetables are sold, you bargain. And for lipstick or sandals, you don't bargain. So, mentality of the people has to change. Then farmers will easily grow nutrient dense produce at affordable price to the consumer. And that's why I said that soil to soul has to be a movement. It can be a business. It can't be a business plan.
Okay. And what role do regenerative and natural farming practices play in improving food quality and consumer health?
What did you ask?
What role do regenerative and natural farming practices play in improving food quality and consumer health?
Madam, there is some unfortunate situation. I mean, farmers who do natural farming, I am well aware of. There is one farmer, Mr. Vasudev Gaikwad, who has got 80 acres of natural farming near Pandharpur, and he grows lot of crops, processes them, gets good money. But then he knows at least 100 people who are not doing natural farming, but they claim that their produce is natural. And then there is a problem created in the market. This is only bad practices I am talking about. Now I am a scientist. Technically, if you ask me a question whether organically grown food is better than chemically grown food, simple question, and I'll say I don't know. Because you go and see the website of US Department of Agriculture, which is supposed to be the highest authority in this field, they say that organic certification only means that the process of growing it was organic, and then they say it does not mean that the product is more nutritious, neither it means the product is more nutritious, nor it means that the product is non-toxic. So my consumers want something which is nutritious and non-toxic, and organic certification doesn't prove that, and still we want to promote organic farming and we want to say that organic is good. So somewhere in the middle of the process, we are doing some mistakes in defining the things. I would also want to add one more example here. Some 10 years back, I was following up one movement in USA, and that movement was for milk. And the caption of the movement was milk was medicine before there was pasteurization. So those farmers proved that pasteurization is reducing the nutritional quality of milk. They got their own milk analyzed in research labs and showed that their milk is consistently of the same quality of pasteurized milk only because they are following good farming practices. They are not using antibiotics, they are not giving any medicines to their cows, they are not pasteurizing their milk. Their milk is more nutritious, at the same time as safe as pasteurized milk. And then they claim that pasteurization was developed only for industrialization of the dairy. Otherwise, it is not needed. Otherwise, it is harmful for human nutrition, or at least it is reducing the human nutrition. So, this is the situation in several industrial processes of farming or food processing, which we need to really look into very carefully, understand them well, and implement the right implement the technologies to overcome these problems.
Okay. And how can how can consumers identify foods that are genuinely healthy and sustainably produced?
So for that, I always think that there has to be a mechanism by which this is transparently traceable. I am not saying certifiable, I am saying traceable. So as long as it is traceable and as long as there is trust in the system, these things will grow faster. If you want to analyze each and every fruit which you are actually trying to sell, then it will not be affordable. So just like organic farming certification, there are several other self-acclaimed certifications, and those certifications are at par with organic certification, at times better than organic certification, transparent, traceable. So we need to build that kind of a system. Actually, I am trying to say the same thing with some small example, that for example we have developed this meal bars. One of them uses jaggery. So we looked for a jaggery manufacturer supplier who has got authentic jaggery and found out one person from Dharwad who has excellent quality jaggery, affordable price. To my surprise, he cannot operate his factory even at 10% of his capacity because he can't sell it. So this trust needs to be built and a network needs to be built. If we do both the things, then we will succeed.
Okay. Yeah. What are the biggest challenges in creating a food system that benefits farmers, consumers, and the environment?
Farmers can take care of environment only if they get the right price for their produce. Right price can be given by consumers. And there are lot of consumers or this aware section of consumers is growing at least at 5 to 7x every year. And by 2030, the paying capacity of this class is also going to increase. So I don't wonder if there are ample number of buyers in next 5 years. What we need to do is to ensure that sufficient amount of produce is actually purchased from individual farmer and then taken to the farms or fields. I mean, I'll give you one example. There was one there was one mall, food mall or vegetable mall, you can say, way back some 10 years back, and they wanted grapes. And one of my friends who has got excellent quality grapes from Narayangao, which is only 60 kilometers from Pune, offered them the produce. And they said, our method of procurement of grapes is such that you need to supply to 10 different shops every day and then maybe 5 kg per shop or 10 kg per shop. And he said, look, I produce 30 tons, sir, where I will come to your shops and sell 10 kg and 20 kg. So there is a problem of scale. My farmer is growing at a huge scale. Satisfying one farmer also may not be possible unless and until you convert the perishable agri-produce into non-perishable. That is what we are proposing, and we are developing technology for the same.
Okay. And last two questions. As the founder and CEO of Vitaleon Foods Private Limited, how is your company connecting nutrition, sustainable farming, and value-added food products?
So as I already showed in the PPT, our products are 100% nutritious with reference to ICMR guidelines, even with reference to higher standard guidelines. So we will not develop any product if it is not compatible with the nutrition requirements of this country or of the highest standard. Now we are also procuring the produce from farmers. So in this case, what happens? I'll give you example. I am a life member of Custard Apple Growers Association of Maharashtra, who has got 1 lakh hectares of cultivation under their members. And one fine day, I asked them that I want custard apple for processing, that chocolate project which I mentioned just now, and I need custard apple badly immediately. And everybody said the season is at happened, you should have come 1 month back, 2 months back, whatever. I said today I want. Now typical price of custard apple is 25 rupees kg on that day. I said I am ready to give 100. And then 10 farmers came ahead. And I said, but my condition is your custard apple should be free of the insects inside. Insect larvae should not be present in custard apple. And I did not get a single supplier for that custard apple requirement, which was few tons. I was ready to pay 4 times extra. So we are already building this chain. So we are already educating the farmers that look, I want this quality. I am ready to pay 4 times extra for this quality. But if this quality is not there, I am not going to buy because otherwise I cheat my consumer. So that is the awareness which we are building, and we need strong support and help from various government and quasi-government agencies to take this ahead.
Okay. And Just 1 second. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Many farming systems focus on maximizing yield. So how can we shift towards measuring success by nutritional quality, soil regeneration, and farmer profitability rather than production alone?
So this is a catch 22 situation. And 2011, I was interacting with a big team from foreign university, and they were looking at our technology for its economic development potential. That was Clara University from California. So what they were telling me is very interesting. They said, sir, the farmers are myopic, short-sighted. Why they are short-sighted? Because they can't decide their input cost. They can't decide what money they are going to fetch for their produce, and the weather and the pests are not in their hands. So everything at mercy of God. So any year, if they think that they are going to get good profit, they try to maximize it. So this is not a technical problem. This is an economic problem. If the farmer is sure that he is going to get enough money for his survival, even if he gets 10% low yield, then what you said can be implemented across the country or across large masses of the farmers. Otherwise, each and every farmer tries to maximize his or her yield in the season and typically then get only profitable yield once in 3 or 5 years. So that is the bad part of the situation. The scientist from Santa Clara University, whom I was talking, one of them has written a research paper, and in the discussion of the research paper, she has mentioned India specifically. And what she has written is there was a Watandar system in India where the landlord or Watandar used to own a lot of land, and he used to give that to farmers, saying that whatever you grow, half of it is yours. So she said this system was very good because the landlord who had money could invest in the crop. The landlord was educated, so he could get proper information about the crop. And the farmer had to do his best to get maximum crop so that his share increases. Now what is happening, because last year tomato got good rate, I am planting tomato. I don't have money for planting tomato, so I go to the shopkeeper, get everything on credit, and then this year crop is ruined, and then I am again at mercy of God. So this is an economic problem. This is a systems problem. This is not a technical problem. That's why I am saying that a system like soil to soul will change the situation when it reaches a scale.
Right. Okay. So now we have reached to the last question. If you
Yes, ma'am.
could recommend 3 practical changes that every farmer should adopt to improve soil health and produce healthier food, what would they be?
First and foremost is I know number of animals per acre are decreasing, but I know that 200 liters of any animal dung slurry, which has got only 10% dung, means 20 kg per acre is possible. And this does wonderful things. Then through this slurry, you can use beneficial microorganisms, you can do disease management, you can do nutrient uptake, you can do several things. And some problems, like say for example nematode, or say for example dieback, where there is lot of fungal growth on the roots of the crop, these are controlled, prevented, at times recovered by consistent use of animal slurry. So every month, do I put 200 liters of slurry per acre is my first question. My second question is, do I use unnecessary chemicals, whether fertilizers or pesticides? Pesticides also have equal bad effect on the soil. And most importantly, Beyond certain point, any use of pesticide, any further use of pesticide does not increase the yield for the farmer. So if the farmer has got understanding of these three things, and along with there are a lot of other biological inputs which he can use, but I am not recommending that they buy the inputs from market and use. Some of them can be manufactured or produced at their farm itself, and some of them need to be purchased. So this balance of bought out material versus material developed on his own will actually take him to the success.
Okay. Yeah. So, what inspired you to build a business focused on the connection between food, farming, health, and well-being, and what impact have you seen so far?
So this is a very interesting question and got a very long answer, but I'll try to make it short. When I was in ninth standard, I declared that I am going to study microbiology and do PhD in microbiology. And while I was doing research in microbiology, I did my PhD from National Chemical Laboratory. Dr. Mashelkar was our director, and I got influenced by his thought process. And I said that my research is going to be open for people. It will be for people, for betterment of people, and not to win a Nobel Prize. So that defined my approach. Incidentally, we had our own farms in Alibag district, Raigad district. So I started doing experiments in our own fields. I was also working on one social trust where they had got 35 acres of land and doing a lot of experiments in agriculture. So there I realized that a small change which I can bring in the agriculture system actually can do wonders. That's how I got attracted towards agriculture. And food is my hobby. My grandfather was Ayurvedic practitioner. So I got some understanding of health from him. And Ayurveda always says that before the Vyadhi or disease, there is Adi. So because you do something, there is a Vyadhi. And then I started realizing that our food practices, our eating practices have changed a lot over last 100 years, and that is the reason of our Vyadhis. Why 25-year old person gets heart attack and why 15 years old person gets diabetes is only because of our wrong lifestyle. And that is how I started looking at it. I started working with people, helping people. They got good results, and still I claim and I tell them that I am not a doctor. I am just trying to give you some advice, take it or leave it. But then I wanted something concrete for large masses, which I tried in the agriculture space. We developed products for disease mitigation. We could take them even to Rwanda and Ethiopia. But then I understood that it is very difficult to grow that for me. And that's why my previous company, before Vitaleon, I had a company that is still existent. That is Swasti Agro and Bioproducts Private Limited. So agro vertical was for agricultural inputs and bioproducts was for processing the perishable goods. So we did work on processing of perishable goods from 2014 till today in Swasti Agro, and then culminated this into Vitaleon, which is a major food processing venture right now.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Nitin. So I don't see any more questions. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for a detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. So we'll be ending this meeting now. Have a good evening and good weekend.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Namaste.
28 मिनिटं कमी